The U.S. economy is crumbling and the American consumer is struggling to get by like we've never seen before. Hey everybody, you're watching Bull Boom Bear Bust, back with another dose of economic reality. Bull to the bust news. Let's go ahead and get right into it, folks. We got a lot to talk about. So what did we recently find out? We found out that nearly half of consumer spending was created by the top 10%. That's right, the top 10%. So the GDP number, the gross domestic product, which is essentially consumer spending, is much worse than we originally thought, because we now found out that it's not most people that are creating this or that are spending this money. It's the top 10%. The bottom 90%, like I said at the beginning, it's looking like they're struggling like never before. So we're going to hear from a few people. We're going to get into some of the data here that I think we need to be on top of. Economic news, data. But first, let's hear from some individuals starting right here.
Today we got more confirmation that the only reason the economy is in good shape is because the rich are spending money. 10% of income distribution accounted for 49% of all spending in the second quarter, which is the highest level with data going back to 1989. So basically, if you make less than 190 grand a year, you have the exact same spending with regard to inflation as you did in 2020. It's barely kept in line, whereas everybody else making 200K and above is up there. I'd like to remind everyone that 90% of the stock market is owned by 10% of the population. So the reason the stock market is up is because the wealthy own most of the stocks. The wealthy are doing most of the spending. And in a funny way, they're generating most of the value themselves. But if any of them get skittish, then the real problems will start. Because for everybody else, we've been in a recession since 2020. For anybody not making money out the ass, it's been all about just buying what you can afford, watching necessities skyrocket in price and having no say in it. It also explains why retail spending came in higher than expected this month. It's because it's being propped up by rich people continuing to spend money on bullshit. In addition to AI capex powering the economy, we have this too. The moment these people feel skittish, though, the stock market will come crumbling down with the rest of the day.
Folks, sounds like somebody that's been listening to this channel. I've been talking about this for, trying to remember when I put out my first video, 2018, maybe 2019. So it's at least been 5 years, maybe 6 years, maybe 7. I'd have to look back. But we've pretty much nailed it, folks. We said the cost of living was going to continue to rise. There would not be a bust. There would not be a crash without something huge causing the crash. Like the gentleman just said there that we heard from, when the top 10% gets skittish, they have the ability to bring the entire stock market down, the entire economy down, because they own about 90% of the stocks. And now we found out that they own, or that they account for, about half of the consumer spending. So what happens when the top 10% pull back on spending? Folks, the economy's cooked. It's done. The bottom 90%, for the most part, scraping by, borrowing money, living on borrowed money and loans and credit cards, while the cost of living keeps rising. Now, there have been a few people on this channel, in the comments and such, people emailing me directly, messaging me as well, and asking me, okay, JJ, we know things are getting tough. We know that things are not likely going to get easier anytime soon. So what do we do? Well, let's hear from a few people that'll give their take and maybe some ideas on what they're doing and how they're getting by. Hopefully more than just scraping by, but how they're getting by, how they're making it. And I'll give you my thoughts here towards the end of the video, but take a listen to this.
All right, so I make $15 an hour. I have one son and I do not get child support. I'm going to tell you guys some of the ways that I'm saving money, because I get people constantly asking me, how are you making it? How are you making it? I'm going to be honest. Number one is credit card debt. It's not avoidable. Now, disclaimer, I make $15 an hour.
I thought she was going to say wear black fingernail polish. I guess that's some part of her plan.
But I did go to school for cosmetology. I do cut hair and I do get tips. So I'm throwing that out there. I get tips. Depends on the day. Today I got a $50 tip. That does not happen often. But anyways, normally I average like 40. I mean, it depends.
$50 tip. Maybe a top 10%er came in there and got some stuff done, right? Into her salon.
All right. Number one, I do not get my hair and nails done. You can tell. I mean, you can tell. But it's just not in the budget. It's not a priority.
I knew they had to be in there.
All right, number two, no internet. I know that's a tough one. Subscriptions, haven't seen her.
A lot of people are cutting their internet. People a lot of times are doing things on their phone that they used to do on their computer. In fact, I looked up the analytics for this channel, and I'm sure that's like that for most channels now. Most views are from mobile devices and no longer from a computer or a PC. So when you can watch videos and do so much now on your phone, some people can get away without the internet now.
I do not have subscriptions to anything. I, in fact, closed my bank account down, so anything linked to it would be shut off, and I switched over to Chime. I do use the hotspot on my phone for like my son's tablet, but that broke. So we watch a lot of PBS Kids, and he's been really into reading lately, which brings me to my next point. I don't buy
Hotspot, I had that a few years ago. I believe that's where you can get on the internet with your device, but through your phone's service. So through your cellular service and not actually having broadband or not actually having internet. For those that don't know, I'm sure many of you are like, JJ, we know.
the book.
Some people may not know.
Books. I go and I find the little free libraries. You can find them like with an app on your phone. All right, number 3, food pantries. I make too much to qualify for assistance by $1.36. So I go to food pantries, and then when I grocery shop, I go to Aldi or Walmart. Used to be a big Dollar Tree girl. They raised their prices. You are actually not getting a deal at Dollar Tree. You're better off going to Walmart in this economy.
That's true. I found out because sometimes these Dollar Tree sizes are so small. You think it's a bargain, even at $1.25, $1.50, whatever the regular price is now. The sizes are so small.
Stuff is like $5 there now, $1.75. It's not worth it. Oh, another thing. Quit buying bottled water and just buy a big jug. Get a water bottle and fill this. It's cheaper. Or get a...
There you go, folks. These are things that you can do to save money. Are you willing to get rid of your internet? Can you live without it to save? What are you paying? $80, $100, $150 a month?
Brita, but I don't like Britas. All right, number 4. Thrift stores are a ripoff. I don't know what's going on with Red Racks, but they are scamming people. They are scamming people. You can buy shit cheaper brand new than you can at Red Rack. So forget thrifting at this point. You're going to want to find churches. A lot of food pantries also have clothes, clean.
I don't have Red Rack in my area, but I did notice that Goodwill prices are outrageous. I mean, I wouldn't say the same as what they cost new, but only a couple dollars, maybe 10, 15% less than what it costs new in some cases. I mean, a lot of cases from what I've seen.
Cleaning supplies, those type of thing. Look for churches, look for friends cleaning out their closets, look for garage sales. This isn't really a money-saving tip, but rent is going to be your top priority. You do not want to lose your house. A lot of billing places will work with you. Make sure you pay your landlord. They are not going to play. Do not lose your housing.
Or your mortgage. Sounds like she rents.
I mean, you could apply for low-income housing. I've tried. You're going to be on that wait list for years. So just start paying your rent. All rent is expensive. You can't do anything about it. Just pay it. If you do want to treat yourself, this is my little treat all the time. I get Sonic Happy Hour. Today, I actually did a survey, and I got a free soft drink. I know this is not ideal. We are living in a fucked up economy. I understand that. You have to sacrifice to make it. Even if you go to school for something, even if you have a trade like I do, people making $24 an hour in the Midwest are not making it. So don't beat yourself up. Don't feel bad about it. I'm sure I have more money saving tips in there, but that's what I got right now. And that's where I'm at. And that's how I make it.
All right, folks, we're going to keep an eye on her and others giving out similar information, similar advice, similar tips, life hacks, if you will, on how to get by. I've shared them here many times on this channel, how I get by. I still clip coupons sometimes. A couple weeks ago, I had a coupon for a fast food place, and it was like 8 burgers for, it was like a family meal. Came out to be like $2-something per burger, right? Big burgers too. So I don't try to eat fast food a lot, or try not to. But sometimes you just want to have a cheap, and it's not about cheap always. Sometimes it's just about ease. It was a night where my wife didn't feel good. I wasn't feeling the greatest. I didn't feel like cooking. She didn't feel like cooking. I was like, all right, I got a coupon. Let's just go get something, right? I try to find good deals, right? But it's not about saving money only, right? It's about lifestyle, and I can't get get by without the internet. Like the person we heard from, she obviously gets by somehow without the internet. I put out content on YouTube, so I can't get by without the internet. But if you can get by, if you're not a content creator, if you can do things on your phone, like watch videos that you could normally do on your computer, and that's all you need it for, then you might want to think about getting rid of the internet on your home computer. Get the mobile hotspot. It's only, I think, $10 extra a month through your phone service. That's what it was through mine. What do I have? Cricket Wireless. So maybe it's different with different providers, but there are things you could do to cut back on the expenses. And I think we should all do that. Even if you're okay right now, even if you're not barely scraping by, you're not living paycheck to paycheck, maybe still think about cutting expenses to build up that nest egg, right? What if something big does go down and the economy does take a dive, and let's say the banks get hacked and all your money's gone out of the bank? Wouldn't it be nice to know that you saved money and now you have a cushion or some stashed away at home, maybe in a safe, to help you get by for 6 months, whatever? Let's hear from a few other people, and some of these things you may already know. But to me, watching people talk about things that I already know, it's a little bit comforting. It lets me know that people are feeling the issues that we talk about here, the cost of living, the debt, how most people are barely scraping by, living paycheck to paycheck. Let's hear from another individual that's given his take on the whole financial situation right now, the whole system.
I feel like we are not panicking with how quickly and how steeply this economy is going to crash and diseases are going to run rampant. Like, I still cannot.
We've got another crash prediction, folks. That was what most of my last video was about, was people predicting a crash. And people have been waiting for a crash for a while. In our previous video, we showed you the video where the realtor was making fun of people for waiting for the housing market to crash. And I've been one of the few channels that say I don't think it's going to crash unless we see some big, huge, like, bank, not just maybe a glitch, but more of like a hack happen. Let's listen to what he's got to say, though.
Tap to pay works. We have this entire credit system. This entire economy is built on buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later, buy now, pay later. And at first, it's designed as a good thing. It's people want to get a house, which they can't afford with the money that they earn. The bank will give them a small loan with a small interest rate, and they'll pay it back over time, and everything will kind of square away. And now we've turned everything into that. That's why this is going to be so much worse than 2008, because 2008 was only housing. That's the crazy thing. We talk about how 2008 hit all of these different sectors of the economy, but it's just because housing went down. It was because these banks and these subprime mortgage-backed securities that people, the entire thing, they were just giving out bad loans to people who would never ever pay them back. So they're giving 5 loans to somebody who makes $20 an hour.
But now it's not just housing that's over leveraged, it's everything. Even people's food budgets, like you said, is being financed. Buy now, pay later, etc.
For 5 different houses. That's the Big Short. That's the entire thing. Now that's everything. Now that's the entire economy is built on that. Actually finance your food. We went from being able to finance a house to financing a burrito. That's insane. Just from a purely economic standpoint, forget the moral issues of everybody should have food as a human right. We're so far past that. But like, you just go anywhere here and nobody pays cash. That's what's crazy. Nobody pays cash. Everything is tap to pay. That's how everything is designed right now. Everything is credit cards.
Still a few people use cash. I used cash just a couple days ago. If I can avoid swiping a credit card for something that costs $1 or $2, I will if I have a few dollars cash, because the credit card companies, they charge a fee every swipe. So you may buy something for $1. If you use a credit card, sometimes the retailer will have to pay almost as much, or sometimes maybe even more, than what the swipe is, right? And that's why you see these swipe fees in some places, right? Other times it's a percentage. I can get into it, but bottom line is he's not he's not exactly correct when he says nobody uses cash.
You buy now and you pay it 30 days from now, and then 30 days from now you're actually poorer, because the entire idea of a credit economy is that people are growing. So when you grow, you can pay back more, and that's how I was taught all of this. But it doesn't work if people are financing a burrito.
Or putting it on a credit card, which is essentially financing it, because even if you pay the credit card off at the end of each month, and I really hope all of you are paying your credit cards off in full each month, because those interest rates are gross. They're gross. They're disgusting. The interest charges 20+% now, even if it's $100 balance, folks. I don't like paying $20 annually, right? APR is only going to be a few dollars a month, right? $20 annually, dollar something. But most people don't just have $100, folks. It's $100 debt. It's thousands and thousands. Wow. Let's continue here.
On top of that, you have student debt, which I think is like $1.2 trillion of debt. That's more equivalent to the housing crisis. Just that part, you've put people $120,000 in debt, and instead of a home, you get a literal piece of paper that promises you jobs, but we know that we don't have jobs. And okay, the unemployment rate is 4.2% or 4.9%. Like, give me a break. 96% of people are employed. And that's not even to mention, like, adequately employed. Like,
Yeah, employed. For a lot of people, that's selling stuff on eBay and living with their parents, right? Or living in the parents' basement, folks. He makes a lot of good points. I'm sure most of you probably agree, and you're like, yeah, we know. The point is, a lot of people are feeling this, folks. Some of these people may have ideas and thoughts that you don't have. I've heard a few things here today through the videos that we've seen that I really didn't think about. Some little things, little ways to save money. But overall, folks, this economy, yes, it's propped up on easy money, borrowing, people living on borrowed money. And like you said, the gentleman that we just heard from, it used to be that financing was something that you did knowing that you're going to pay, or that you're going to make more money in the future, and that you'll be able to pay it off. Now people can't pay it off. Look at the loans. We had to cancel these student loans. We had to cancel the payments ever since 2020. For most of the time from now, ever since 2020, it's been that people didn't have to pay those loans, and they couldn't pay the loans. That's why they had to do it. Folks, that's how messed up it is. You see a minor disruption or hiccup in the economy, and they have to cancel everybody's loan payments because nobody can pay them back. Nobody has an emergency fund. No one has enough money put away to last very long at all because they're living paycheck to paycheck because everything is so expensive. All right? And it's a combination of a lot of things. Companies aren't paying enough. People are spending too much. Las Vegas, the tourism has dropped and spending has dropped. And the number of people going to Las Vegas and spending money has dropped, but there's still a lot of people. It's only like a 5% drop. If you go to Las Vegas, it's not vacant. It's not empty. There's still a lot of people there. It's like a 5% year-over-year drop in tourism in Las Vegas, but people are still spending money that they don't have to spend. You can eat at a restaurant somewhere. You don't have to go to Las Vegas. You can play a slot machine. In most states, they have casinos. I have 5 casinos in my county here in San Diego County that I can go to if I want to. I don't really go to them, but if I wanted to gamble, I could do that. But Vegas is its own experience. I'm not cutting anybody down for going to Vegas. I've been to Vegas many times, mostly back when I was single and had more money to spend and less obligations and less dependence and all that. So, that's me. I actually got married in Vegas. It was a very low-cost wedding, and 16 plus years later, we're still married. So I didn't have to go out and spend tens of thousands of dollars for a big wedding to make the marriage last, a good amount of time. In fact, I know people that did spend tens of thousands of dollars on a wedding, and I know them more than one person, and their marriage lasted not even 3 years after spending tens of thousands on a wedding and a very expensive honeymoon, by the way. All right, we're going to hear from another individual. I watched the first 5 seconds. This guy's really hyped up about the economy and the cost of everything. Take a listen.
1 million people, 230 million people in America, splitting $1.6 trillion in our economy. Today, more than 40 years later, there's 341 million people and $21.6 trillion in our M2 money supply. So tell me why there's 20 times more money and only 50% more people. There's 50% more people and 2,000% more money.
Wow.
Technically speaking, there's 10 times more money per person in America than there was just 40 years ago. So why does everyone feel 10 times broken? In 1970,
Because most of that money went up to the top, the very top. The 10%, but especially the top 1%. So much money more money now. Like you said, 2,000% something more money now with only 50% more people. Because, folks, it's been consolidated. We warned you about this from this channel's onset. From the very beginning, we said there's a huge wealth transfer happening. The rich will get much richer, much wealthier. And the bottom 90%, for the most part, getting further behind, getting further buried into debt. All right, well, let's listen to what he's got to say. He's very hyped up. I think I used to be like him in my 20s. I used to be very excitable, animated. I would even scream if my football team lost, which is ridiculous. But yeah, maybe this is me in my 20s. Huh?
1971, we released ourselves from the gold standard. In 1976, we went into a crash. In 1981, we started Reaganomics. 1989, we cemented in Reaganomics. And Reaganomics cemented in one thing. The top get the money, and they trickle it down to everybody else. But guess what? Through the 90s, through the early 2000s, through the 2010s, guess what happened? The money went up top, and it started to... Ooh, wait. Why would we trickle this down? Let's keep it up here. Ooh, let's invest over there. Ooh, why don't we buy that? Ooh, hey! We don't gotta give them the money. The money is in the top. The money is held by the investors, the asset holders, the big boys, the big girls. Why?
The billionaires, folks, and it's not really changed that much. What do we still see? We still see quote-unquote leaders now saying, oh, let's give tax cuts to the companies, the businesses, the corporations, and therefore money will trickle down is the word that some people call it. They'll pay higher wages because they're making more money with the tax cuts. Folks, they don't do that. They don't pay higher wages with money that they save. They keep more for themselves. They buy back more of their own stock so they can get wealthier themselves, right? You know the game, folks. Let me know what you think about all these people, all these ideas, money-saving tips and stuff like that. And let me know your tip down in the comments. What's the tip that we may not have talked about here in this channel? And please let me know what else you'd like to talk about or see on this channel. What would you like discussed? Hope to hear from you down in the comments and hope to see you in the next video. Keep stacking. Bye for now, everybody. Peace.